When Sweden formally joined the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the alliance celebrated a significant strategic victory. NATO expected Sweden to bring a highly professional military, a key geographic position in the Baltic Sea, and advanced defense technology into the fold. The integration of Sweden was seen as a straightforward process, bolstering the alliance's northern flank against a newly aggressive Russia. The primary assumption was that Swedish forces and equipment between Sweden and existing NATO members. However, this smooth integration narrative overlooked a critical element: the Saab JAS-39 Gripen fighter jet. For years, NATO had been moving steadily towards standardizing its air forces, primarily around American-made aircraft like the F-16 and more recently, the fifth-generation F-35 Lightning II. This approach simplifies logistics, maintenance, and training across the alliance, creating a more cohesive and efficient fighting force. The expectation was that new members would eventually adopt these common platforms. Sweden's entry, with its fiercely independent and capable aerospace industry, introduced a high-performance variable that the alliance had not fully accounted for, challenging the very notion of standardization. The core of the issue lies in the Gripen's fundamental design philosophy, which was born from Sweden's unique Cold War defense posture. Sweden required a fighter that could be operated by a small number of personnel, maintained with minimal equipment, and flown from dispersed, unconventional locations, like reinforced highway strips. This doctrine of resilience and self-sufficiency is embedded in the Gripen's DNA. While these are admirable qualities, they represent a stark departure from the NATO model, which relies on large, well-equipped air bases and extensive logistical support networks. The alliance was prepared for a new partner, but perhaps not for a new way of thinking about air power. This unforeseen challenge has been dubbed the Gripen shock. It is not a crisis of capability. The Gripen is an excellent fighter, but a crisis of conformity. The issue became particularly urgent following the increased Russian military activity since 2022. As of 2025, Swedish Gripens are already participating in NATO's tense air policing missions over the Baltic Sea, operating alongside F-35s and F-16s. This has moved the theoretical problem of interoperability into a real-world operational context. NATO is now forced to confront a dilemma: how to integrate a fighter designed for independence into an alliance built on interdependence, especially when the strategic stakes are higher than ever. The Saab JAS-39 Gripen is fundamentally different from the fighters that dominate NATO's air fleets. While jets like the F-35 represent the pinnacle of high-tech, stealth-focused air power, the Gripen embodies a philosophy of pragmatic efficiency and operational flexibility. The F-35 is a fifth-generation marvel, packed with advanced sensors and stealth coatings that make it nearly invisible to enemy radar. It is designed to operate from established, secure airfields with extensive support infrastructure. Its maintenance requires highly specialized technicians and a global logistics chain, making it a powerful but demanding asset. This is the cornerstone of modern NATO air power doctrine: technological superiority maintained through a robust and centralized support system. In contrast, the Gripen is a 4.5-generation fighter built for a different kind of war. Its primary strengths are not stealth, but ruggedness and ease of use. It was designed to be refueled, rearmed, and sent back into the sky by a small team of conscript-level mechanics in a matter of minutes. Crucially, it can take off and land on runways as short as 800 meters, including sections of ordinary roads. This capability allows a country's air force to disperse its assets, making them far less vulnerable to a preemptive strike on major air bases, a very real concern for nations bordering Russia. These features make the Gripen an outlier within the alliance. NATO's logistical framework is built around standardized parts, fuel types, and maintenance procedures tailored for American-made aircraft. Integrating the Gripen requires a separate supply chain, specialized training for ground crews, and different operational planning. For example, a squadron of Gripens could be scattered across a dozen small airstrips, while a squadron of F-35s would likely operate from a single heavily defended superbase. This creates a logistical and command and control headache for NATO planners who strive for seamless, unified operations across all member nations' forces. The latest Gripen E variant, which entered service in 2025, further complicates the picture. It boasts a powerful AESA radar, a sophisticated electronic warfare suite, and the ability to carry advanced European missiles like the Meteor. This makes it a highly lethal and modern fighter, but one that uses different systems and munitions than its American counterparts. This divergence is both an advantage and a problem. It provides NATO with a diversity of capabilities, making the alliance less predictable. However, it also strains the logistical and technical cohesion that has long been a core strength of the alliance's collective defense posture. The Gripen shock manifested in two major unexpected developments that rattled NATO's strategic planning. The first surprise came from Canada. For years, it was assumed that Canada, a key member of both NATO and NORAD, would eventually purchase the F-35 to replace its aging CF-18 Hornets. This would align it with the United States and other key allies. However, in 2025, amid soaring cost projections for the F-35 program and political tensions, the Canadian government under Prime Minister Mark Carney began to seriously reconsider its options. Saab launched an aggressive campaign promoting the Gripen E as a more affordable and sustainable alternative perfectly suited for patrolling Canada's vast and sparsely populated Arctic territories. This development sent ripples of concern through NATO headquarters. If Canada were to choose the Gripen, it would represent a major break from the trend of F-35 standardization among the alliance's most significant members. It would complicate interoperability with the U.S. Air Force within NORAD, the bedrock of North American air defense. The prospect of a major G7 nation opting for a non-American fighter created a strategic dilemma. It signaled that the high cost and operational demands of the F-35 were creating opportunities for competitors, potentially fragmenting the alliance's technological cohesion at a time when unity was deemed more important than ever. The second, and perhaps more profound shock came from Ukraine. As Kyiv fought to defend its territory, it desperately needed modern fighter jets. While NATO allies organized the transfer of F-16s, Ukrainian officials, including President Zelensky himself, publicly identified the Gripen as an ideal aircraft for their specific needs. They highlighted its ability to operate from damaged or improvised airfields, a critical advantage when Russian missiles are constantly targeting major Ukrainian air bases. Furthermore, the Gripen's simpler maintenance and shorter pilot training time, reportedly as little as 6 months, made it a far more practical solution for an air force under immense pressure. This Ukrainian interest put NATO in an awkward position. The alliance's long-term aid strategy was centered on providing equipment that was readily available and fit within the existing NATO support structure, hence the focus on the F-16. The Gripen, while perfectly suited for Ukraine's reality, was not part of this plan. Sweden, cautious about escalating the conflict, stated it would only consider a transfer after the war. Nonetheless, the situation highlighted a critical gap in NATO's thinking. The alliance was planning to equip Ukraine based on its own logistical preferences, while Ukraine was identifying needs based on the harsh realities of its battlefield, and the Gripen was the perfect fit. The Gripen shock has forced NATO to confront an uncomfortable truth. Standardization, while efficient, may not always be the most resilient or adaptable strategy. The challenges posed by the Gripen's integration, Canada's potential purchase, and Ukraine's urgent need are not problems to be dismissed, but lessons to be learned. To move forward, the alliance must evolve its thinking and embrace a more flexible approach to air power. This means developing new doctrines and logistical systems that can accommodate a more diverse fleet of aircraft, recognizing that different allies face different threats and have different operational requirements. One practical step is to enhance exercises specifically designed to test interoperability between disparate platforms like the F-35, the Gripen, and the Rafale. Instead of just focusing on common communication protocols, these exercises should simulate dispersed operations, where Gripens operate from forward highway strips while F-35s provide overwatch and data linking from a central base. This would allow NATO to turn the Gripen's unique capabilities from a logistical challenge into a tactical advantage. Planners could learn to leverage the Gripen's resilience to complicate enemy targeting, creating a more robust and survivable air defense network across Europe's eastern flank. Furthermore, NATO could establish specialized interoperability hubs or technical centers, focused on non-standard platforms. These centers would work on creating adaptable maintenance solutions, multi-platform munitions packages, and flexible command and control systems. This would reduce the logistical burden of operating a mixed fleet and ensure that a Swedish Gripen, a French Rafale, and an American F-16 can all be effectively supported during a joint operation. This proactive investment in flexibility would be far more effective than trying to force every member nation into a single technological mold, a goal that is proving increasingly unrealistic. Ultimately, the Gripen saga should be viewed not as a problem, but as an opportunity for growth. The world has changed dramatically since 2022, and the nature of conflict is evolving. The alliance's strength has always been its unity of purpose, not its uniformity of equipment. By embracing the diversity of capabilities that members like Sweden bring to the table, NATO can become a more resilient, less predictable, and ultimately more effective defensive alliance. Adapting to the Gripen shock will be a test of NATO's flexibility, and passing that test will make the alliance stronger and better prepared for the uncertain security challenges of the 21st century.